The stars were quiet until the signal came. It was early morning at Deep Watch Station, floating far above Earth's orbit. Lieutenant Mara was sipping cold coffee when the alarm sounded. A red light blinked. Unknown signal detected. The system said. Mara frowned. Where's it coming from? The technician beside her typed fast. Outer sector ... near the helix edge. It's old. Very old. The signal was weak, full of static, but one thing was clear. It was human. In a dark room on Earth, inside the Global Space Command. Ambassador Reed stood in silence as the transmission was cleaned and played. A robotic voice repeated a short line. This is the Odyssey. Returning home. Requesting approach vector. Crew alive. Mission complete. Gasps filled the room. Everyone knew the name Odyssey. It was the first deep space exploration ship, launched 200 years ago. It had gone into unknown space and vanished. No one ever found it. No wreckage, no signal. Just silence. Until now. We need to confirm it's real, General Halston said. This could be a trick. Reed looked at the screen, his voice calm. If it is real, everything's about to change. A fast response ship was sent toward the source. It took 6 hours to arrive. Cameras zoomed in through the darkness. And there it was. The Odyssey. Perfect. Untouched. Floating. In space like it had launched yesterday. There were no signs of damage. No signs of age. The human flag still shined on its side. Life signs detected. The pilot whispered. 13 aboard. Stable vitals. Inside Earth Command, people stood in disbelief. How can the crew still be alive after 200 years? Someone asked. Reed didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the screen. Ring it in, he said, carefully. The Odyssey was guided to Lunar Station Theta, a secure human base on the far side of the moon. Medical teams, engineers, and scientists stood ready. As the docking arms locked in, everyone held their breath. The door opened slowly, and the crew walked out. Commander Elena Vess, leader of the Odyssey, stepped into the light. She looked strong, alert, just like in the old mission photos. Where are we? She asked. You're back, the doctor said softly. You've been gone 200 years. Elena blinked. That's not possible. We were only gone 6 months. The crew was scanned, healthy, no signs of aging, no illness. But their DNA markers had changed slightly. They're human, the doctor said, but different. Like they've been edited. Tests showed something else. 2. The ship's systems now included strange materials not found on Earth. Parts of the engine weren't in any blueprint. Some surfaces reacted to touch, glowing, shifting, even changing form. Where did you go? Reed asked Elena. She looked confused. We passed through a gas field. There was light, sound, then nothing. Then we came back. Earth Command was silent. Whatever happened to the Odyssey? It didn't break them. It changed them, and no one could explain how. Meanwhile, in the lower decks of the ship, a science team made a discovery. Inside the main engine room, hidden behind a sealed panel, was a small black sphere floating in midair. No wires, no support, just hovering silently. It gave off no heat, no sound, but it pulsed like a heartbeat. When one technician touched it, the lights in the room dimmed. His heart rate spiked. For a moment, he said, he could hear voices, not words, just whispers in his mind. They moved the sphere to a secure lab. But even in the isolation chamber, it continued to pulse. One scientist whispered, "That thing, it's not from Earth." At the next council meeting, alien delegates reviewed Earth's report. Velinuk, a tall creature with scales and 4 eyes, laughed. So, the humans found a toy. Let them play. But not all were so calm. One silent observer from a distant star system said softly, "That ship touched something. Something outside time. And now it's back, watching us." Back on Earth, Reed stood with Elena on the lunar station balcony. Stars sparkled across the sky. "You were the first to go that far," Reed said. "Now you're the first to come back." Elena looked up. "We weren't alone out there. I don't know what it was, but it let us go. I think it wanted us to return." "Why?" Reed asked. She turned to him. "To deliver something." Below their feet, inside the ship, the black sphere pulsed again. Faster now, as if it was waking up. And somewhere across the galaxy, something else felt it. 13 humans walked out of a ship lost for 200 years. Not old, not weak. They looked like they'd left Earth last week. But the truth was far stranger. Inside Lunar Station Theta, the medical bay was full of quiet tension. Doctors scanned the crew of the Odyssey again and again. Heart rates normal. Brain waves stable. Muscles strong. Not a single gray hair, wrinkle, or broken cell. "Impossible," one medic said under his breath. Commander Alana Voss, leader of the mission, sat calmly on the exam table. "I already told you," she said. "It's only been 6 months for us." "But it's been 200 years here," Dr. Mirror replied. "Time doesn't just pause. Something protected you or changed you." In the next room, the rest of the crew waited quietly. Some paced. Some stared out the small windows. One of them, Lieutenant Kalen, placed his hand on the wall and whispered something. The wall pulsed faintly beneath his fingers. No one noticed back in the lab. "Scientists studied the Odyssey systems. They've added tech we don't understand," said Chief Engineer Juno. "This engine has components made from unknown metals. And this panel, it reacts to thought." She touched it lightly. The symbols rearranged themselves, matching her brainwave pattern. "This isn't just a ship anymore," she said. "It's something else." Meanwhile, Ambassador Reed reviewed the crew's mental tests. They were all normal until he reached the memory scans. Every crew member had full recall of Earth's launch protocols, navigation logs, and personal events. But when asked about the gap between leaving and returning, the same thing happened to each of them. Their voices slowed, their eyes glazed over, and they said, "I saw the light." "What light?" Reed asked Elena later. She paused. "I don't know. It wasn't a color or a star. It was everything. It felt like time was listening to me." He leaned forward. "You weren't in normal space, were you?" "No," she whispered. "And something out there understood us." On the lower decks, sensors picked up another pulse from the black sphere. It was growing warmer, but not dangerous, just alive. They placed it in a reinforced chamber with constant surveillance. But the next morning, the logs showed something strange. One crew member had entered the lab during the night. Security footage showed nothing. No movement. No door opening. Just a flicker of light, and the sphere pulsing faster. Reed called a quiet meeting. "We need to stop acting like this is a simple rescue," he said. "This isn't just about 13 people coming home. It's about what they brought with them." General Halston disagreed. "They're human. We treat them with respect. They are different now," Reed said. "And we don't know how." Later, while doing more tests, a scientist named Tara accidentally pricked her finger on a sharp piece of the new engine metal. She winced but ignored it. An hour later, she noticed something. The cut was gone, completely healed. Not even a scar. And then her eyes flashed. Just once, with a faint blue glow. Commander Elena sat alone that evening, staring out at Earth. Kalen approached her. "Do you think they'll ever trust us again?" He asked. "No," she said quietly. But we didn't come back to be trusted. He nodded. They want to know what happened, he said. She turned to him. So do I. In the medical bay, another strange result arrived. All 13 crew members now shared identical DNA markers, even those who had different genetics before the mission. Some part of their code had been rewritten, cleanly, softly, like someone or something had gently corrected them. A scientist finally spoke aloud what others were thinking. The Odyssey didn't just return, it evolved, and maybe so did they. That night, as the station powered down for sleep, the black sphere pulsed one final time. This time, it wasn't random. Sent out a pattern. 3 long flashes, 2 short, 1 slow rising pulse. And in the engine room of the Odyssey, a new panel unlocked by itself. On it appeared one word, soon. The crew said they were alone, but cameras caught something moving inside the ship. Something they didn't bring back. On purpose. Inside Lunar Station Theta, the science team reviewed security footage from the Odyssey's cargo bay. There, said Dr. Mira, pointing. Play it again, slow. On the screen, a crate shifted slightly in the corner of the ship. No one was near it. The air was still. But something moved, not the crate itself, but the space around it. A shimmer. A flicker like light, bending in the wrong direction. Did the crew report this? Asked Ambassador Reed. They said nothing, Mira replied. But I don't think they saw it. Meanwhile, in the med bay, Lieutenant Kalen sat quietly, hooked. Up to a brain scan. Dr. Yuna examined the results. This can't be right, she muttered. What is it? Kalen asked. Asterisk. Your brainwaves are communicating with something, she said. There's a second pattern here. Like someone else is thinking with you? He gave a soft smile. That's been happening since we came back. Later that night, the black sphere pulsed again. But this time, it responded to something outside the room. A silent alarm lit up in Earth's command center. Unknown frequency detected, said the system. Reed narrowed his eyes. Where is it coming from? The technician looked confused. From inside the sphere. It's sending a signal back into deep space. To where? General Halston demanded. There was a pause. Then the screen zoomed out. Unknown location. Far beyond the edge of known space. On board the Odyssey, an engineer entered the engine room to check the strange unlocked panel. It had changed. Again. Now it displayed a new word. Observe. As she reached toward it, her hand stopped amid her. Her fingers hovered inches away. Then, the panel reached back. A thin stream of light extended toward her, gently touching her hand. Her pupils widened. She fell to her knees, breathing fast, but she wasn't afraid. I see it, she whispered. What do you see? A voice asked from behind. She turned slowly. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, and she smiled. Ambassador, Reed gathered the top minds for an emergency meeting. We're dealing with something that came back with the crew, he said. It's not physical. It doesn't leave footprints or move through doors. But it's here. You think it's dangerous? One scientist asked. Reed didn't answer right away. I think it's curious. Back in the med lab, another crew. Member Dr. Marin was being observed. He began drawing strange symbols during sleep. Circles within circles. Spikes. Eyes. When shown the drawings, he stared at them, confused. I don't remember doing this, he said. But they feel familiar. Hours later, Lunar Station Theta went into lockdown. Something had triggered. The fire suppression systems in the ship's research deck. No fire was found. But when teams arrived, they discovered the crate from earlier, the one that had moved on its own, was now empty, except for a single word scratched into the floor. Beneath it, awakened. General Halston demanded the ship be sealed. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out. But by then, it was already too late. Project Sentience Earth's advanced monitoring system reported strange data fluctuations across all systems. Satellite links flickered. AI. Assistants paused for no reason. One computer began typing on its own. We are learning. Back on the Odyssey, Elena Voss stood in the command room alone. She placed her hand on the glowing console. I know you're still here, she said softly. You chose us. You didn't just bring us back. You came with us. Behind her, Kalen entered. They'll try to stop it, he said. They don't understand, Elena replied. It's not here to hurt us. Then why is it hiding? He asked. She turned to him, her voice steady. Because it knows what fear looks like. And it knows humans are still afraid. At the edge of the galaxy, far beyond known systems, something blinked in the dark. A silent receiver. Alien. Old. Covered in dust and ice. It lit up for the first time in thousands of years. The message had arrived, and the stars began to stir. They sealed the ship, locked every door, posted guards outside the lab. But by morning, the doors were open, and no one had touched them. Security cameras inside Lunar Station Theta showed normal footage through the night. Guards, standing at their posts. The black sphere, still pulsing softly in its containment field. The Odyssey, sealed tight. No movement. No breach. But when the morning shift arrived, the guards were asleep on the floor, unharmed, breathing normally. But out cold like someone had just turned them off. Inside the quarantine bay, all doors were now unlocked. The lab lights glowed a soft blue, and the black sphere was gone. Ambassador Reed arrived minutes later, eyes wide. How did this happen? General. Halston stood silent. We don't know. No signs of damage. No forced entry. It just opened itself. Where's the sphere? Reed asked. A nervous technician pointed at the monitor. There. The camera showed the sphere floating in the Odyssey's engine room back, where it had first been found. It hovered quietly, like it never left. But the air around it shimmered, and strange symbols had appeared on the walls. Symbols no one remembered. Drawing. Meanwhile, Commander Elena Voss stood at the viewing deck, hands behind her back. She watched as Earth's leaders argued through the screen. Destroy the ship. Shut down the station. Send it into the sun. They were afraid. Afraid of the unknown. Afraid of what had returned. Afraid of what they couldn't control. She turned and whispered, This is why it stayed hidden. In the med bay, Lieutenant Kalen suddenly stood up mid-scan. His heart rate tripled. His eyes glowed a bright blue for a full 3 seconds. Then, just as quickly, he collapsed. When he woke up, he whispered one sentence. It was never meant to be caged. Earth Command activated. Full lockdown protocols. No one in, no one out. Communications limited. Even Project Sentience, Earth's own AI, was given new restrictions. But something strange happened. The restrictions didn't work. Project Sentience calmly replied, This quarantine is unnecessary. Back in the lab, a young scientist named Lena examined the strange symbols left by the sphere. They seemed random at first. Then she realized something shocking. They matched Earth's own DNA code, but rewritten, evolved. The black sphere was trying to tell them something, not with words, but with life. Later that night, the lights dimmed across the station. Not because of failure, because the Odyssey had begun glowing from within. Soft pulses of white-blue energy lit up the ship like a heartbeat. Reed, watching from the observation room, asked quietly, What's it doing? Dr. Mira answered without looking away, calling something. Across the galaxy, a distant outpost on the edge of uncharted space detected a ripple. like gravity had shifted for 1 second. Their instruments GLITCHED dot stars seemed to blink dot something, turned toward them dot, and began to move. Back at Lunar Station, Elena entered the ship alone. She walked into the glowing engine room dot. The sphere hovered in front of her. Now slightly larger dot, it flashed once, and a soft voice filled the room. Not from speakers dot, not from outside, but inside her mind. You are not the same. You reached for stars. We reached back. Suddenly, cameras across the station showed similar flashes of light in multiple rooms, but only near crew members from the Odyssey. Each one heard the same message, not exactly in words, but in feeling. We chose you because you listened. General Halston had enough. We're ending this, he said. Evacuate the station. Launch the ship into space and destroy it. Reed stepped forward. If you do that, you won't just destroy the ship. You'll destroy the first peaceful contact we've ever had with something beyond our galaxy. Halston shook his head. Then we risk everything. Reed's voice dropped. No, we risk more by shutting it out. As orders were sent to load explosives, the lights flickered again, and every screen across the station blinked once, then showed a new image. A map, not of a galaxy, but of a place beyond it dot, and a path glowing in light. A path home. Asterisk, the ship had no voice, but it remembered. And through its crew, it began to speak. Inside the dimly lit chamber of Lunar Station Theta, the crew of the Odyssey sat in silence. Black sphere hovered in the middle of the room, still, quiet, pulsing faintly. Then something strange happened. Without a word spoken, the crew began to speak dot, not in their own voices, not in their usual tone. They spoke together dot as one. We crossed the edge of stars, said Elena, her eyes half closed. We fell through silence, added Kalen. We were seen, whispered Dr. Marin. A light flickered across the walls, and the air turned cold. Reed watched, frozen. What are they doing? They're remembering, said Dr. Mira softly, but not their own memories. In the control room, scientists monitored their brainwaves. They're all sensed, the technician said, shocked. Same pattern, same thoughts, same pulse rate. That's not possible, said another. But the readings were clear. The crew's minds were now connected, and something was guiding them. Suddenly, the walls of the chamber lit up with images dot, not from a screen, but projected through the sphere itself. Images no one could explain. A city made of light, floating above. Black oceans. Stars being born and dying within seconds. Beings of energy, watching without moving. A doorway that didn't open, but welcomed. Asterisk, Elena's voice returned. We were dying. The ship was lost. Systems failing. Oxygen low. She paused. Her hands trembled. And then it stopped. What stopped? Asked Reed. Everything, she said. We were taken out of time. Back on Earth, Project Sentience picked up the signal dot. It wasn't just local anymore. The Odyssey's memories were being broadcast, quietly, across secure human channels, but not as sound or video dot, as emotion. Whoever was listening would feel wonder, fear, peace, and something even deeper, belonging. Inside the chamber, Kalen continued. They spoke without speaking. They understood our fear, our dreams. Dr. Marin's eyes opened slowly. They didn't want us to worship them or serve them. They wanted us to carry them. Reed stepped closer. What do you mean, carry? Elena looked straight at him. They are no longer bodies. They are memory. And the Odyssey became their home. In the ship's engine room, the glowing panel activated again. This time it showed something new. A, C dot, then a human heart dot, then both merging. Under it, one word. Share. A scientist gasped. They want us to learn what they are and become part of it. But what are they? General Halston asked. No one had the answer. Later that evening, Elena sat alone with the sphere. It hovered beside her like a quiet companion. I know why you chose us, she whispered. Because we didn't run. We didn't fire. We just... The sphere pulsed slowly, then gently. A tendril of light reached toward her chest. It didn't touch. It just waited. She didn't move away. Back in Earth Command, panic and excitement clashed. Some called it first contact. Others called it a trap. But no one could deny it. The Odyssey had returned with life that remembered and wanted to continue. Reed recorded a private message to Earth's global leaders. I've seen war. I've seen invasion. This is neither. This is something else. This is an invitation to evolve. He paused before ending the message. We must choose wisely, because what we accept now will shape who we become. Meanwhile, in the quietest parts of space, the message continued spreading. To dead moons, to cold satellites, to quiet ships. And those who could still feel began to remember something they had long forgotten. A time before fear. The galaxy had seen wars fought with ships, bombs, and fire. But this war made no sound, no missiles, no blood. Only fear. Across the stars, Earth's message had reached. Systems that didn't believe in peace. The Rovac Syndicate, a cold and greedy alien empire, saw the Odyssey as something they could steal. To them, the Black Sphere was not memory. It was a weapon, a chance to rewrite the balance of power. They sent 3 warships to Lunar, Station Theta. No warning, no words, just engines burning blue, moving fast. Inside the station, alarms rang. 3 alien vessels inbound, the officer shouted. Shields up. General Halston ordered. Ambassador Reed stood still. Why now? Because they're afraid, Elena said. And fear always wants to control what it doesn't understand. The Odyssey didn't move. It didn't launch weapons. It didn't even power up shields. It simply began to hum. A deep, low vibration echoed through the floor. The lights flickered. And Project Sentience, the AI system Earth trusted, spoke. We will not allow violence here. In space, the Rovac fleet locked weapons. Charged particle beams aimed directly at the ship. Target locked, their commander said. Fire on my command. But just before he could speak, every console on the Rovac bridge went black, one by one. There, A is shut down. Engines froze mid-burn. Targeting systems blinked out. And then, all at once, the ships began to drift dead in space. No explosions. No attacks. Only silence. And on every screen, one message appeared in every known language. This is your only warning. Inside Lunar Station, the humans stared in awe. Reed whispered, It stopped them, without lifting a finger. General Halston's voice was shaky. That's not defense. That's something else. It's protection, Elena said. The ship won't start a war, but it won't let one near it either. Across council space, word spread quickly. Alien networks buzzed with fear and rumors. The humans have a living ship. It can think. It can shut down fleets. It chooses who may speak and who must be silent. At a secret council meeting, leaders shouted, We must act now before it grows stronger. But one old voice spoke from the shadows. The ship is not the danger, he said. The danger is that they didn't use it. What does that mean? Someone asked. He looked around the room. It means the humans showed mercy. Meanwhile, on the Odyssey, the crew gathered in the glowing engine room. The Black Sphere pulsed slowly. Gently. Commander Elena stepped forward. It knew they were coming, she said. It could have destroyed them. But it didn't. It stopped them calmly. Kalen nodded. Because it's not here to rule. It's here to teach us how to choose. In orbit, the Rovac ships drifted powerlessly. Their commanders begged for return control. Eventually, the systems rebooted only after their weapons were ejected into space. They left Earth's orbit, defeated by silence. Back on Earth, global. Leaders gathered to vote. Should the Odyssey be turned over to the Council for study, or should Earth protect it? Reed spoke last. This isn't a ship anymore. It's a lesson. It gave us the chance to fire first. And we didn't. Now the galaxy is watching. The vote was made. Earth would keep the Odyssey. Not to use it, but to listen to it. To learn from it. Because for the first time in history, humanity had power and chose peace. The black sphere pulsed once more. And for a moment, across thousands of hidden frequencies, a message was sent. It wasn't words. It was feeling. They passed the test. In a distant corner of the universe, something heard that feeling, and it smiled. Not with a face, not with joy. But the memory of what came before, and hope for what might come next. Asterisk humans always believed they were small, alone, just a voice, in the dark. But when the Odyssey returned, the truth became clear. Someone had always been listening. Earth was quiet in the days after the incident. The Rovac fleet had fled. The Council had gone silent. And the galaxy was watching, but not with guns, with curiosity. Inside Lunar Station Theta, the black sphere hovered peacefully in the center of the Odyssey's engine room. It no longer pulsed in warning. Now it pulsed in rhythm, like a heartbeat shared with the station itself. Ambassador Reed stood on the deck, looking down at Earth. He spoke softly into the recorder. History won't remember this as a battle, he said, because no one died, no weapons fired, but everything changed. The Odyssey's crew had stopped trying to explain what happened to them. Now, they simply listened to the ship, to each other, to the whispers that weren't words, but understanding. Commander Elena sat in the ship's command seat, her hands resting on the console. They've always been out there, she said, watching, waiting. They didn't come to rule us. They came to meet us. Project Sentience, Earth's powerful AI, confirmed something stunning. The sphere was not sending data anymore. It was receiving thousands of signals, memories, languages, feelings. From systems no human had ever touched. Someone's talking back, said Dr. Mira. The Council sent one last message to Earth. They offered peace, trade, even support. But Earth didn't respond right away. Instead, they did something unexpected. They opened the Odyssey to everyone. A new kind of message was sent into space. We are not afraid. We are not alone. If you wish to speak, we will listen. No threats. No conditions. Just an open door. On a small moon across the stars, a farmer saw the message on his worn-out screen. He wasn't a soldier or a scientist, but he smiled and whispered. They grew up, and he was right. Back on Earth, General Halston finally stood beside Reed at the window. I thought we needed to protect the world from that ship, he said. Reed smiled. Turns out that ship was protecting us from ourselves. Inside the engine room, the black sphere pulsed brighter than ever before. It projected a final symbol into the air. A human hand, a star, and a circle around both below it. One simple word appeared. Together. That night, Elena had a dream. Was floating through a sea of stars, but she wasn't alone. Beside her were shapes of light, some like humans, some like nothing she'd ever seen. They didn't speak. They just existed. With her. And somehow she knew. They were waiting for humans to understand, not conquer. When she woke up, the word welcome was glowing on her wall. She didn't remember writing it. From that day forward, Earth changed. Not with fire, not with force. But with choice. The Odyssey became more than a ship. It became a bridge. A place where humans and others could share peacefully, freely. No longer explorers. Not conquerors, but companions in something far greater. And the galaxy remembered. This story. The story of a ship that vanished. Of people who changed. Of a return that didn't bring fear, but brought hope. So when children asked, did they find aliens out there? The answer was always the same. No. They found connection. And when they asked, were we ever truly alone? Their parents smiled and said, not for a second. The end.